Okay, we are live.
Hi, everybody.
Okay,
Are we live? Any issues?
we are live. Uh, People will kind of be filtering in here, I believe. I'm going to go ahead and let our players know that they are good to commence. Welcome, everyone, to Game 2 of the War of the Ring World Finals. Joining me today is Biz from the War of the Ring community Discord server. I'm Cirrus233, and we are very excited to be here. At least I am. Biz, excited?
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be a great game.
Heck yeah! Folks in the chat, we apologize for being a couple minutes late to start. We had some audio issues we were dealing with. If you can hear us okay, please let us know. If you can't hear us, definitely let us know. Um, we are indeed live. Uh, the players should be setting up and getting started shortly. So, uh, if you have not watched the It Is Fuzzy and Quiet, let's turn it up. Is that any better? Let us know, chat. Um, all right. Well, uh, if you have not seen the first game in this series, I don't know what you're doing here. You got to log off. You have to go watch it right now. It's incredible. Um, this being game two means that it is going to decide whether or not we have a world champion. Uh, the winner of the prior game, fingers
Drum
and
roll.
ears, if you don't know, drum roll, was Saved by Him narrowly, which means if Saved by Him wins today, playing the Free People, Saved by Him will be our world champion. If Wei wins, then we go to a game three. Shadow is commonly thought to have the advantage, especially in base game, and that is what Wei is playing, so today we will see.
We are already off. We saw one eye being allocated. Not something a lot of top players do, but Wei goes for a little unusual play.
Do you not do that? You don't allocate eyes?
I do zero most of the time. I think it's better in general.
Yeah.
But who might argue with Wei? Played a great game one.
No musters for Wei uh, means a pretty rough start for Shadow.
Yeah, very bad, especially with 3 free people movement. That is, if you're starting here, I think you already view free people as kind of equalizing their
Uh huh.
disadvantage with this roll.
Absolutely.
There goes Gandalf tripping right outside of Rivendell. I'm almost certain that Saved by Him will take Gandalf here.
Pretty good start. We love to lose Gandalf to a three.
It is interesting. Unlikely to see Saruman. We're not going to see a turn 2 Gandalf because of this lack of musters.
Right, right,
Um,
right. Yeah, for anyone who's a little bit newer to the game, we think, well, all right, we got hit on the first turn, that's bad. But really, you kind of want to lose Gandalf so that you can bring him in, but you also expect Shadow to have a minion, which is a requirement for getting Gandalf the White. So no minion for Shadow means that on turn two, when Shadow gets their minion, they can do so with the last die, and they can prevent free people from getting a Gandalf the White on that turn. That is
And
another
Saved by
hit.
Him is moving once again, and this time it's a 0 reveal.
Yeah, now that is kind of annoying. I think I would almost rather be revealed on step three than on step two. Now he has to be in this awful spot, just pre Moria. He's revealed. He could commit to kind of a Strider strategy, right? Hide with the hybrid, move again if he wants. But this is some bad luck for free people starting out,
Absolutely, and we see Balrog of Moria in hand, so that might be played for effect.
right?
We'll see.
We could see some corruption. I think corruption is boy. I don't know about you. I personally feel bad going for any kind of corruption maneuver when Gandalf got lost to a three. It's so much corruption kind of banked up in the positive category for free people that it's rough for Shadow.
Yeah, it all depends. I mean, I think what really matters most is drawing a lot of tiles, more so than even the corruption counter sometimes. Like,
Hmm.
just getting down the number of tiles, drawing as many as you can, is so important to have a good corruption game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we see Saved by Him hide with the character die, so they're doing
Yeah.
something else with their hybrid.
They're both leaning a bit into corruption. I think Wei probably feels like free people needs to be slowed down somehow, some way, especially with this slow shadow start. There's Balrog on the table. Woof. If
I think it makes sense for Shadow to play Balrog there.
oh yes,
I mean, you can't. You're just going to draw a card otherwise.
for everything I was just saying about how nice it is to lose Gandalf to a three, you're never happy to see Balrog when you are west of the mountains.
No, and Shadow can always just use it for combat effect if they choose to. Oh, good roll for Shadow. Now they get their two musters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is sort of exactly that scenario we were talking about here. Free People has lost Gandalf. They've rolled a Will of the West. Hooray! They're very happy about that. But if Shadow is wise, typically Shadow will not get their minion until the very last die, and so there won't be an opportunity for Free People to actually get Gandalf with these dice. And that's a big deal because the odds of rolling even one Will of the West on four dice is only roughly 50%.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because, as you note, free people can't get Gandalf, but they're in almost an identical situation to what Wei was in when they got revealed in Holland. And Wei chose to spend their entire turn getting Aragorn. So Saved by
Right.
Him now has the same choice put in front of them.
But as we all know, that would be crazy.
Yeah, no way you could ever come close to winning in a tournament final on military.
That would be insane.
But they move. Wei is taunting them. And the card draw punishes them because now we see Shadow one reveal into Moria.
Yep, yep. Just goes to show that you should always crown Aragorn, no matter what, completely regardless of context or circumstances.
I mean, I have no notes. Absolutely. I think Away is passing on Balrog. I think. Yeah, that's interesting. They could potentially get a reveal out of Moria.
Right. Well, I don't know that you actually can. When you draw the Balrog tile, I can never remember. It's got a lot of text. Do you ignore reveals?
I do not believe you do. You do ignore reveals if you declare into a Free People stronghold.
That's
So
what
that
it
is an
is.
interesting little
That's what it is.
aspect to it.
Okay, so we are opening up against Gondor. There's always a question, where's Shadow going to go? Now, how do you feel in general, Biz, about opening Gondor versus, say, the Dew Line, which I think a lot of people see as sort of the traditional, safe, standard Shadow opening?
I think Dew Line is the meta, but I think probably it's like 60% of games Dew Lines, like the two Elven Strongholds, is better. But there's a solid 40% of the time where you'd prefer to open Gondor. And that's discounting all the other strategies you could do.
Right, right.
And I think it makes sense here, especially because Free People is getting hit on corruption. They might look for a place to heal. They might look to get Aragorn. Um, and you take away Minas Tirith as a healing point, and then you aim to take away Lorien as well. And then Free People is just going to have a very tough, slow game with the Fellowship.
So maybe this converts into kind of, as you're saying earlier, a little more of a corruption play. I think it's possible. You've got Shelob in hand. You've got Balrog on the table. You've got Denethor in hand too, which should help with Minas Tirith if you're inclined to play
Yeah,
it.
that might influence it. I don't think Shadow necessarily has to full commit to a corruption. But if they do end up going corruption, eating Minas Tirith is a kind of happy coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah, most certainly. Most certainly. The way is suggesting that Saved by Him could always still crown the king. This is an option on the table.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about now, but oh no, Sauron's not at war, so maybe.
Yeah, Sauron might not get to war until next round if we expect to see one muster spent on Isengard, another spent on getting Saruman. Oh, Pocket Faramir is so nice here.
Love
He
getting that card early.
Yeah, he doesn't hit, but then again, he never does. And the real win is the elite and the leader.
Well, I think it's always important to remember in these times that Boromir would have hit.
That's an excellent point. Truly, words to live by from a real comb enjoyer.
Look, Denethor is not my favorite. I didn't say that. He's just right about everything.
It has been pointed out in chat that this is a chance for Faramir to show his quality. Say by him thinking here, you got two wills, so you can have a lot of flexibility. Gondor down, yeah. So I think this makes a lot of sense. You certainly want to go down at least one, right? Um, Shelob with a character, okay.
Yeah, and a lot of times Gondor down is a little awkward because it can facilitate Witch King. But I think next turn, certainly Shadow will be able to get Witch King no matter what Free People does.
Agreed. And then Free People is very likely to be able to get an extra elite in Minas Tirith. I notice playing Shelob with the character die feels a little inoptimal, doesn't it? Those red cards, you kind of want to hang on to them. There's no rush to play them. You want to play them with event dice if you can. A character die we usually think of as being good for an actual attack, right? Um, so a little sad to have to spend it in that way, but that's the cost of no early musters.
Yeah, without Sauron to War, there's basically nothing useful for those character dice to do.
Maybe move Nazgul. There's an argument for it. You can consolidate them all into one army and then put the other one in, say, Dimril Dale.
Yeah, saved by him pointing out they just needed to be missed, and then they could get to Dol Amroth, but it was not meant to be. But
Right.
they do get a will this turn.
Yeah, that's very nice. So nothing to stop Gandalf now, and I think unless Saved by Him has Fearfire Foes or Book of Mizarble in hand, we're probably just going to see Gandalf in Fangorn. Something that is worth commenting on if you watched Game One.
Maybe we'll see him in Woodland Realm or something. Who knows? They like to switch things up here.
I think I actually have mustered Gandalf in Woodland Realm, like once. Oh, another hit.
Oh, another hit. And a
And a
reveal.
reveal. Nasty business.
So I think it made sense for Saved by Him to bring move there because you don't want to be just loitering around in Moria. You want to get out of that house of horrors as soon as you can.
Yeah. Even with the 3 dice, you got to go for it. The reveal is nasty though, and now Balrog's gonna pop. Now the extra Moria tile is gonna pop. So, as Saved by Him, you just have your fingers crossed. You are hoping for eyes.
They've only hit one eye so far, so
Two reveal.
that's a good tile for Shadow.
Yep.
Any tile but an eye is a good tile for Shadow here.
And Saved by Him tanks it. 3 to 5. Corruption creeping up pretty high.
That is interesting. I mean, it's only a two, I suppose. Oh,
And
and there's an
there's the
eye.
eye.
That's a bit of a wash. You know, for drawing three tiles, one of them being an eye makes sense.
Right, right. So this is what I was kind of saying you could have done with that character die last turn. If it had been me, I think instead of playing Shelob, the Nazgul in South Ithilien goes to North Ithilien, and the Nazgul in Holland goes to Dimril Dale. And had you done that, you would have been set up for 5 leadership in one army in the south and a Nazgul in the Fellowship up in the north. If these rolls go the way that they went.
Yeah, that's an interesting move. I don't think that that's bad. But Wei is playing Breaking, and it's an eye.
All right. Breaking Breaking had some potential to be good there. But as we said in the last game, I don't know. How often do you just kind of help your opponent when you play Breaking? I do not like that card very much.
It's an interesting card. I mean, it's starting to get to the point where it's very dangerous for free people to separate, but all the same, yeah, it could help you get Aragorn.
Suppose you draw a 3, the best possible case for corruption, right? Now you've got 2 hobbits and a captain of the West in Dimril Dale. There's so many things you could do with that. You don't want to lose 4 corruption from the Fellowship. That's true, but still.
Yeah, it's a full fellowship focus though today for Shadow, or at least so far. So,
Now,
um,
we got a
go ahead.
question in chat asking about the order of the tiles. Shadow is not allowed to choose the order of the tiles between Balrog and the Free Moria tile. I do not remember the order, but it is fixed. I think it's Balrog first, and then the Moria tile. That sounds right as I say it in my head, but it's not a choice. It is set.
Fighting in Osgiliath, Faramir again missed. Boromir would have hit.
Okay, Denethor. All right, all right. Go have a tomato and sit down.
Look, I haven't been wrong yet.
And there's our muster. What an awkward number of units in Minas Tirith. Capacity is 5 fellows. You are at 7. It's not high enough that you really want to take a field battle, so you probably just have to quietly retreat in.
Maybe we'll see about that. It probably depends. Like a decent free people card, like a shield wall or advantageous or something. Maybe you do take a field and
Hmm,
just hope. There's Athelos. Bob called it. That would make sense why they weren't taking any randoms.
right. Somewhat annoyingly, you've now dropped just below the threshold for Morgul Wound, so if you hit a 0 reveal in the future, you're in danger of that.
Field battle. We need to get Ituralde on here to see this one. Yeah, there's advantageous.
Okay, sure. Yeah, shout out Ituralde. Fella loves his field battles. We all know it.
Now, free people does drop one below, so they end up at a 3/2/2, but getting 4 hits back on Shadow, I think, is probably worth it for that.
Absolutely. And I mean, for all we know, he's holding Guards of the Citadel.
Well, that would be fantastic. And for all the tiles that have been drawn and corruption done, you got 2 from Athelas. The military for Shadow is not going very quickly.
Not at all.
Um, and you're past Moria with the full fellowship. So it's going to take some good character cards for Shadow to actually turn this into a really threatening corruption game.
Another red tile. So with so many tiles drawn and now 2 red tiles in the pool, or what will be 2 red tiles in the pool, Mordor is not looking friendly by the time the Fellowship arrive.
Yeah, definitely not, especially if it continues as it has. But there's still a long ways. Free people might not get hit much.
Certainly a very slow turn for free people. Only 1 movement. Keep on.
Shadow has a ton of attacks,
Right.
so um, there's only one hybrid. So I would strongly consider, if I was Shadow, New Powers Rising, an elite, sit on top of Helm's Deep.
Right. It is worth pointing out that if they wanted to, uh, Shadow could put Dol Amroth under siege this turn with Southrons. You'd have to move Nazgul down to them, but then you would have 4 attacks remaining, which is just enough to kind of merge up in West Tarandor, and then Pelargir, Lamadon, Dol Amroth, put it under siege. And ordinarily, that would be a pretty great play. But in this case, with free people having so many musters, they would be able to bolster that pretty heavily before you even got close. So it's actually not so valuable a play as it might otherwise be. That having been said, Savedbyhim might spend those musters in exactly that way regardless. So maybe you do get over there.
Maybe you just want to take out Gondor,
Right.
suppress them, stop them from being a problem. I think that that's a fine thing to do, but I think maybe if I were Shadow, I'd be looking at Rohan as kind of there's more opportunity there, I guess I would say.
Savedbyhim, I think, anticipating some kind of Southron blitz, puts a regular in Pelargir and a leader in DA.
Very good play. That's just setting up for 2 elites there. Dol Amroth is not going to be easy for Shadow.
Very much so. So so Rohan, you would be interested in Rohan. Now I totally believe that Rohan is on the table long term. You've got a new powers rising in hand and all that, but Gondor is at war now. They are actively mustering troops. This is like an active problem that could get out of hand, whereas Rohan is very passive and likely to stay that way for a while. You would still rush it down this turn?
I think if I were Shadow, I would. You want to get cheap strongholds. That's the name of the game. You're not going to get them in Gondor. You can get them from Helm's Deep. Also, you're not technically getting them to war. Free People still has to muster to get Rohan all the way to war if you put Helm's Deep under siege.
Sure, sure.
For Savedbyhim, I mean, they're just going to move once. I wonder if they're going to try and heal in Lorien. It might be worth considering. It depends on how good they feel about their military and how bad they feel about um, the Fellowship.
Right, right.
This is a fascinating move, though. They're leaving Minas Tirith under siege, grouping up in Osgiliath, and now they have a big army in Osgiliath that could go either to Rohan or Helms or Galamroth.
Yeah, that is interesting. You certainly don't need that army in order to get to Dol Amroth. And so I wonder what the game is here. Maybe, hmm,
It might be a Rohan move. You go into Drudane,
yeah,
then you just
I
blitz
see that.
in, and then the South runs can reinforce Minas Tirith, and you just don't worry about Dol Amroth.
I think that's very possible. I think that's very possible because that is one of the problems with rushing Helm's Deep is yeah, Free People has to spend a muster, but now Edoras is opened up and you start to muster from that Rohan force pool. Well, that's a lot harder if you have the Witch King on your doorstep.
Yeah, you come in from the other way, you take out a bunch of settlements, and then also you still have the New Powers Rising guys to reinforce.
But it is Pelargir. So they are heading west and not north. Gets 2 hits. Interesting. So maybe the reason we're doing this is because the challenge of getting those Southrons to DA is there's no leadership with them, so the character dice are worthless for moving them. This way, you can use that army die to move Southrons up towards Minas Tirith while the Witch King works his way west. Is that maybe what's going on here? Just a dice
Yeah,
efficiency
I think
problem?
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call because this allows them to use two half army movements to do what one character die would have done.
Right.
And they've decided they would rather spend their dice in that way, which is probably more efficient.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's absolutely just inarguably more efficient. The problem that I have with this position now, that I would be concerned about if I were away, is suppose you cannot crack Dol Amroth with 11 hit points of Sauron troops, which I think is, perfectly plausible. Where do the reinforcements come from?
Late Corsairs or reinforcement cards. But that's a good point. I mean, Dol Amroth is going to be tough no matter what. And this is just a really nice free people defense of Gondor. These are really tough strongholds that
Hmm.
Shadow could have a lot of problems with.
I completely agree, though. At the same time, is it enough that you feel safe slowing way down and healing in Lorien? That's what I'm most interested in here. Is well, let's see if we get hit. We do. Oh no, reveal.
Ah,
Oh my goodness. All right, so Lorien is on the table because there was no reveal. So, do we think if we put on our free people thinking caps, do we have time to visit the Lady of Lorien, or do we have to book it? Okay, wait. Here we have something we didn't have last time. We get a peek of the dice statistics. I didn't manage to see them though, unfortunately. He was
ooh,
married.
Mary's a great draw.
Yeah, it's perfect. I think you probably go to Fangorn here, or do you just pop in Lorien?
Um, yeah, there's Fangorn, Lorien, possibly something silly. I guess you could go down towards Rohan.
Yeah, I like Fangorn personally. I love being able to have a hobbit in there to keep the trees entertained. Well, now you have this Gandalf problem that can go riding off wherever it needs to go.
Yeah, that's a reasonable move. I think Fangorn or Lorien both make sense.
Yeah. And that last muster finally brings our Southrons to war.
I think as free people here, I mean, you can't get Aragorn very easily. I think if you have dead men, you could really strongly consider going to Lorien. But I think without dead men, I think you might. It's hard to imagine having time because Shadow can always bring in more reinforcements. Tough sieges just waste time. They don't hold forever.
I agree with you, and it looks like Saved by Him agrees as well. Fellowship just continues moving down the river. I think it makes sense, and as punched up as they've gotten, the Fellowship health story isn't dire yet. Would you agree? Like, it could get a lot worse. It's about to get a lot worse. This is brutal. This hunt is just bad. Oh, all right. It's another three.
Another three.
Goodness gracious.
And I think Way drew Candles of Corpses.
Look at all the drawn tiles. 3 3 II 2 1 1 0 3. That is nutty. So now what do you do? I see, now you really have to consider sacking Aragorn, I think, because how else are you going to lose him efficiently?
This is the last three in the pool. So this is realistically speaking your last chance to lose Aragorn efficiently.
Right. If you don't lose him here, you're accepting that you're going to have to take an extra hit, basically, at some point in the future. The downside of that, of course, is losing the incredibly powerful special ability. It means that you're never going to crown, but you probably weren't going to realistically crown anyway, since all the valid places are covered up. I I think you lose Strider here. I think that's what makes sense to me.
Certainly you cannot just eat this. You have to at least random. Yeah, Way has Candles of Corpses. This could be really brutal for free people.
Random. Look at that. Oh, and it's the worst possible result, I think.
Yeah, now you really wish you did go to Lorien, I think. I
Oh
mean, I
boy.
don't know. This it's still, I mean, you can take a look at it. There's 3 from Aragorn, 6 from the companions. You can look at this
Well,
as -2.
no,
You can.
well, you can't really, because you don't have three from Aragorn anymore, right? At best you have two. Unless you're not gonna lose him until Mordor and use him on an eye, right?
Yeah, and really you're gonna have another 1.5 corruption piled on right now by Way when Candles of Corpses gets played.
Right. I don't know about that random. That feels like a mistake to me. Now, Saved by Him is a much better player than I am. I don't get it.
I think it makes sense if you have dead men, and I don't want to say that's basically it, because if you hit a 2, you're in pretty good shape. Like you'd rather hit a 2 than Strider, but you would much rather hit Strider than a Hobbit, which is what happened, unfortunately for Saved by Him.
And in this position, if you have dead men, are you still considering splitting off Strider to actually play it?
In situations like this, you almost want to heal, and when you want to heal, you need to find a way to bide time, and Dead Men is the
Sure.
only way.
Well, maybe we'll see something crazy, and Saved by Him will move backwards.
That would feel so bad.
Yeah,
I mean, every move you make is like almost the equivalent of one corruption. So, I sacrificing a move already is kind of like a net zero move. So you would have to stay in Lorien for multiple turns to make up the corruption loss of 2 lost moves.
yeah. It probably is a. I don't know what the equation is exactly, but there must be some math that would let you work out the average corruption per step of the fellowship, given the initial pool and the average probability of getting hit, so on and so forth.
Obviously, it's very variable, but um, if I had to guess, it would be somewhere around like zero point 0.8 or something in that range.
Intuitively, that kind of feels right, doesn't it? If anyone in the chat wants to do the math, let us know.
But I mean, ultimately, I don't think Saved by Him is made making ridiculously risky moves. They just keep getting hit.
Sure, sure. But in fairness, I suppose, Saved by Him has been playing a relatively traditional kind of like Strider sprint style, so to speak. I don't mean that pejoratively. They've defended Gondor very well while they've done it, but at the same time, this strategy does make you vulnerable to bad luck on the hunt in a way that Way's strategy from the prior game really doesn't. And this is an interesting illustration of the strength of that strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah, sometimes separating a lot of companions can save you corruption in a roundabout way.
Yeah. And or
Strider
give you
sprint,
options.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Just saying, either save you corruption or just give you options that you wouldn't have otherwise had.
It makes you so reliant on luck, and I know that it's not the full truth of it, but um, you need to. You're hoping you get the moves. You're hoping that the hunt luck and everything doesn't go so sideways for you, whereas you just have more control over your life with Aragorn and more companions.
Right. So then let's look at this game here. If we're Way, I think you're pretty happy. Your corruption story is going well. You're sitting on top of two strongholds, maybe not with a giant army, but you're there. It's not going to get any worse, really. If you're saved by him, you are sort of trying to figure out a way out here. You can continue to press forward, taking those hits, but it's probably starting to look pretty bad. And I think as saved by him, you got to be digging your character deck, right? You're gonna want as many blues as you can find. You're gonna want to find all the healing. Um, what else are you gonna do to re-grab control of this situation?
That is a tough question. I think in a situation like this, first of all, power to great play by Save by Him. Way had a strategy of putting Rivendell under siege, and it's really disrupted by Power to Great there.
Very much so. He does have the cards to get rid of it. Denethor's Folly is not a very highly rated card by a lot of top players. You really don't want to get rid of Give It to Us or Candles of Corpses. That's a little sad.
Yeah, I
But
think I would just wait a shadow because those two cards are very important to play. I think
sure, sure. Then, as Saved by Him, do you rush the elves to war? I wonder.
you could. Yeah, you definitely could. And, it almost makes sense to do so. You get a little extra protection in Rivendell, so they just can't get it cheap, which was clearly the plan.
Right.
And then maybe you backtrack to Lorien.
Maybe if you backpack. So okay, here is something that a lot of people do, maybe newer people, that I think is very very often a mistake. I see people pop into a stronghold for healing, and then they leave the next round. Well, I don't think that's worth it almost ever,
I
because of
I
what
think
you were
it's
saying.
a really bad move.
Right.
And yes, I am totally in agreement.
So if Saved by Him is going to backtrack into Lorien, how long would he stay? And I think really we're kind of going on a bit of a flight of fancy here. I think the reality is you just don't do it. It just doesn't make any sense.
I think you would need to stay for at least 3 turns for it to be worth it corruption wise.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that.
Which is just an insane amount of time. Now, if you had Aragorn, if like Dol Amroth wasn't under siege or something, maybe that's possible. But again, I guess there's dead men. If there's dead men, you might be able to do something like that, because then Aragorn could pop to Pelargir. He could bring some guys with him, send some more companions over to Rohan or Do. There's things you can do with that.
Right. Okay, Aemir. So elves are not going to war. We're going to go ahead and let Shadow do that for us.
I honestly think the best strategy for free people here. Oh, Candles of Corpses
Total
misses.
whip on candles. That's huge. That is huge.
Yeah, that is pretty big. I mean, it's not going to single-handedly save the game for free people or anything like that, but it is very significant.
Right. So, a little something I've noticed. Wei has now checked the dice statistics twice so far in this game. Uh, I used to do that as well. I've actually stopped. I no longer check my dice stats during the game. I think mathematically, statistically, right, it cannot help. It can only reinforce our horrible human biases about past outcomes predicting future results, right? I'll look at them after the game and curse my bad luck then.
Yeah, I think that's a good philosophy in general. I think Way is probably doing it for us,
Perhaps, perhaps.
for what it's worth. Um, yeah, no, I think that's a good philosophy. It's sometimes hard to stick to. You want to see what the number gods have been dictating for you.
That's too kind. That makes it sound like it's curiosity, right? What it really is you're feeling bad about yourself, and you want some validation that it's not your fault. That's what we're really going for here.
Now, the best thing is when you check the statistics because you've convinced that you've been unlucky, and then the statistics are actually pretty even,
Yep, yep,
and you have to do the mental gymnastics at that point.
right. Or worse, you're up on sixes. Oh boy, that's a bad time.
I think the statistics are somewhat misleading in general. Um, Somebody can be up on sixes and have bad luck
Yeah,
based on card play and context.
yeah.
Um, but I think you are totally right, and that is the best way to approach the game, both if you want to have fun and if you want to win. But I think the best strategy for free people here, and what Saved by Him will probably do, is just keep moving forward, move slowly with the fellowship. You can't really stop to heal, but you can afford to not sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just hope it doesn't treat you too badly from here on out.
Right, right.
Worse corruption situations have dunked the ring.
Oh,
It's
most
certainly
certainly.
favored towards Shadow, but it's not impossible at all.
And Saved by Him is one of, I think, the very few players who can take a bad situation, even a very bad situation, which this is not yet. I would say this is bad. I wouldn't say it's very bad, right? But it can take that and kind of turn it around. So certainly the game is very far from over. I think we are going to see it slow down a little bit in places as people try not to make any mistakes, but such is the game. Uh, you know what I've always kind of wanted dice wise for the client? We see our ones, two, threes, fours, five, sixes, right? But as you said, that can be kind of misleading. I've always wanted to see stats on how up or down you are on hits, like based on card play. I think that would be a better measurement of luck than raw dice rolls.
Yeah, fives don't help you if you are attacking into a siege,
Exactly.
or you roll four sixes against the guy in Dale. Who cares?
Yeah. Or you're attacking a siege. You normally don't care about fives, but you happen to have played Desperate Battle, and now a five's a hit. So it's really only those fours that are unlucky. Um,
Yep. I think that would be a more true statistic, but like you've kind of said, I don't know how much value there is in tracking that during the game.
right, right. Okay, so there's Morgul Wound. We're well out of the really dangerous zone, but still, it's a free point. Yet again, though, interestingly, not really a card that you want to throw away on a power two great.
No, definitely not. Corruption is corruption.
Yeah.
And here's a funny thing that we didn't note is that the Gondor regular moved into Easton Net to protect the Fellowship.
Ah, so it did. So it did. Okay, so another hit on the hunt. It's a zero reveal, which sounds nice until you realize that really you'd love to see that once Gollum is the guide. Um,
Yeah, great tile for Shadow. Gets them back in a place they can get rerolls to
yeah.
easily.
And Fellowship heads out into the wilderness, so any hope of stopping in a healing territory is pretty much gone at this point. It already mostly was, but
they weren't going to stop in Minas Tirith, I
No.
think. And yeah, Bob has pointed out that any of the tile drawing cards would be devastating. There's only one eye left in the pool, so tile drawing cards, if Shadow can cycle into them, um, can just wreck the Fellowship.
Hmm.
And if Shadow can get Lure of the Ring, that's at least 2 corruption.
Yeah, it's scary times for sure.
So I think Shadow is highly encouraged here to draw at least one character card and maybe try and cycle it with the Witch King if it's not playable.
Imagine how different this game would have been if back in Holland we hadn't been hit and Strider had headed down to DA.
Very, very different. Yep, there it is. Not a cyclable card. You're probably going to want to save that as Shadow, because Nazgul Strike is great to have. But again, Nazgul Strike is great to have. Another great card for Shadow.
It is a great card, but at this point, I would probably be willing to clear Power Too Great with it. It doesn't corrupt the Fellowship directly. Um, and at this point, I think as Shadow, corruption is actually looking like a more likely bet than military. Uh, just in raw numbers.
I'm curious about what you mean by it not corrupting the Fellowship directly, because it can deal a lot of damage with another hunt draw.
Uh, yes. What I meant was that I had confused it with Nazgul Search. That's my bad. But it's been a
Oh,
long
yeah,
Monday.
no, totally
Uh,
understandable. Very similar names.
right. So yeah, Nazgul Strike. There, I guess the hope is simply that the hunt roll will miss. But it also can't be played right now, right? Because the Fellowship hasn't moved; they're not on step 1 or higher. And if I were the Fellowship, I do not think I would be moving with that character die that I have right now. Not against 3 eyes in the pool, hit on 5s.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
So you could hang on to Nazgul Strike, but if next round you only roll 1 eye or 2 eyes, then it's not looking as strong. Um, so I don't know. Maybe what you do, honestly, is this crazy? If you're Shadow, maybe next round, do you allocate more than 1 eye?
You could. I'm not a huge fan of that because I think the best way Shadow can deal corruption to the Fellowship is through character cards. I think that's absolutely the most efficient and reliable way of getting corruption down. So eyes prevent you from having Palantirs and
Oh, I see.
character dice, and also just army just attacks because then the Witch King can cycle. So I don't know. I get the idea. I mean, I feel like you'd want one more than one eye, but you definitely don't want like 5 eyes.
No, certainly. Yeah. Okay, Rohan coming down.
Is now the right time to attack Rohan? I mean, Shadow has the dice for it. They can move into Helm's Deep and come down with a 5/5.
I think that's
Even
pretty
play more
reasonable.
of
Yeah.
that.
I like that quite a bit. It's a little awkward as it always is because with Gandalf in play, with free people having 4 character cards in hand, right? The odds of having an ent are pretty good, uh, and I certainly wouldn't want to abandon my wizard. Oh,
Cycling in DA instead. Cancel to Daylight, but Daylight, at least it's only one hit.
free people having pretty good combats across the board.
Yeah, haven't been too many so far, but that's a good start to Dol Amroth for Shadow. But there's Corsairs, so this is
Oh,
why,
Lord.
ultimately no matter how good your defenses are, if you don't have a way to fight back, Shadow will eventually get the cards they need and come for you.
Yeah, this is this is rough.
Kind of hard to
Oh,
watch, isn't it?
yeah, a
With
little
how,
bit.
yeah.
I'm not counting anyone out. I'm rooting for free. I want to see it. There's no rule I have to be impartial, right? I can cheer on the good guys.
No, I mean, they're the huge underdogs this game, too, with everything that's happened. I think game one, there was a little bit of rooting for free with how much we were talking about military stuff. So this game, let's root for free as well. Let's always hope for Frodo.
I'm really
Look,
curious.
I believe in this fellowship. They got a bunch of really great people in there.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, okay, so there's an end. Interesting that we're playing that here and not saving it for a combat, but we're gonna go ahead and get our elven cloaks in, so that's nice. And if you don't do this, you're just overdrawn on your hands. That's a little sad.
Bit of a hand management thing. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was, I forget, I think it was Capsers who shared a large data set about all of the cards that free people in Shadow can draw
Right,
and how they affect your win rate. And basically, hanging on to Ents for a long time severely reduces free people's win rate.
right. Uh, is this the same data set that showed that Elven Rope is dramatically better than Elven Cloaks?
Well, nobody's perfect, Cirrus.
No, if anyone hasn't seen that, I think it's in the strategy channel. You might have to dig to find it, but it was fascinating. There were charts, data, and all that. I think he ran our entire backlog of games on a supercomputer cluster to crack the passwords so that he could scrape the data, which is very funny to me. And as the person who manages quite a lot of the technology for our server, also terrified me a little bit.
You got to hire him to do your security now.
With what budget?
Oh, a safe move, but
All
here comes
right,
Nazgul
look at that.
Strike.
Look at that. This is going to be heartbreaking. Oh no, here it comes. No, we're not doing it. All right, DA. There we go. I want the Nazgul for the memes.
Oh, I am over the moon for Strider and those boys in the Fellowship doing the best they can.
Okay, 2 hits in DA. Heroic depth will help with that. Look at the punchback though. My gosh. I still say the combat luck for free people has been on the strong side.
It's been good. Um, it's yeah, and you
The
know what? If they can just keep moving like that, things aren't looking so bad.
Yeah, I would not say that the combat good luck has been as good as the hunt bad luck, but there we are. Okay, Worm with Sorrow and Toil. Uh, Yet another way to make your friends' lives miserable, and with 4 eligible companions still in the Fellowship, still a pretty nasty card to see out. And
Yeah,
no
that could get
movement.
some nasty cards.
No movement.
So no way to get to Mordor. I think for free people, you still want to get to Mordor sooner rather than later because there's so many cards like Nazgul Strike that can hit you outside of Mordor.
There's absolutely a way to get to Mordor. You play one Palantir to separate all your companions, making Gollum the guide, and then you play another Palantir to play There Is Another Way, and then you Elven Ring and Muster. It's trivial.
Yeah, you're totally right. I don't know how I missed that.
So, okay. Shadow has just this incredible role. They can do whatever they want with it. Maybe they would swap one or two of those musters for an army, but really, it's very good. Even the musters, I don't think you mind so much because you're holding Corsairs. You could put elites in Umbar or over in Rune or whatever you want to do. Uh, what do you do with this very restricted dice pool for free? We've acknowledged that you're probably not going to make Mordor, so what are we going to do with these musters? Do we keep going with Rohan?
Right now, as I see it, without any cards, without anything to change anything, I think Rohan probably makes the most sense. That way, if you're attacked in fords, you can at least muster. Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
ring move. I think that that's definitely right.
Already though? Why not wait? What's the rush?
They could get rerolls on you.
I suppose.
Every little thing is mattering for free people, I think, in terms of corruption.
All right. Free people luck starting to turn around a little bit.
Now do we see Nazgul Surge?
Yeah, maybe.
No, Warn Missar and Toil for it first.
Yeah, that's the better play. I think you certainly want to get that out there before any of those companions get killed.
Yeah, and what's the hurry for Nazgul Surge?
Yeah, very much so.
Well, the hurry is that free people separate all their companions and then play theirs another way.
Right, as we have established, is the correct strategy in this case. Actually, unfortunately, you can't pull. Oh no, you've used your ring. Yeah, no, it's still viable. Actually, no, it's not. You
Oh,
used
they
you
already
needed.
used their ring.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If we're gonna theory craft fun ways to get
So
money
that was a serious misplay by Save by Him to not set up for the obvious there is another way play.
anywhere. If you ever have a game that is not going your way, remember, kids, consider separating all your companions. You never know what's going to come of it. You know, I think it was the first year that I joined the server, the Discord community, years ago. But we had this tournament that we called the Continental Tournament, and it was America versus Europe, more or less. And it was the first tournament I ever competed in. And on turn two, Shadow did roll something like six eyes, and I won a Free People's Military victory by just moving Rivendell and Woodland Realm to Moria and Doguldur.
Oh, that's a classic. That's awesome.
All right, more Rohan.
Yeah, Rohan won away from war. They're at least going to be ready for the Shadow Assault.
Yeah, yeah. I really quite like this. It's just as you were saying before, the how well defended Gondor was. Now Rohan is shaping up to be kind of a monster, and maybe we are wishing that we jumped on Helm's Deep back when it was undefended, because right now it's a bit of a problem child.
Maybe. Um, I think that's definitely true. Um, I I don't even know about attacking Rohan at all. Like, as Shadow, you're just spoiled for choice here. You can muster an Umbar and do Corsairs. You can muster up in North Rune and make a big stack that can go for something and do. Or you could go for a Rohan. And you have time, and the Fellowship is just so hurt.
Yeah. Right.
It's so hard to imagine the Free People just sprinting up the Mordor track.
It's a little hard to imagine for sure. Um, I'd love to see some blues in the pool, I think.
Well, we saw one. I think, given Shadow just mustered, Free People should probably move into Helm's Deep, so that if they are attacked in forwards, they can muster rather than having to spend their hybrid.
I would think so, yeah.
Maybe we'll see that little Gondor dude in Eastamnet go on a journey and do something fun.
To where?
I don't know, just into Westamnet, follow up, defend.
Maybe. Oh, okay. So we move out from Helm's Deep to create a nice little fighting force in Ford's Bison. I like that. Kind of get like a free round of stronghold combat there that puts you to war. I think that's quite a nice idea.
Sure, and then you can just remuster the elite in Helm's
Yep.
Deep.
Yep. You can basically take up to 2 hits that just sort of don't count.
Plus, it's fun to just have these regulars scattered around.
Yeah.
It can just be annoying.
Yeah. It's very useful.
That's great. Stormcrow to move Rohan back.
That is fun. I think if you're newer, you might not realize just how rarely Stormcrow is actually played for its event, and almost never late in the game like this. It's turn 7. To see Stormcrow played on turn 7 is kind of a treat.
And yet it makes a lot of sense here for Shadow, and is hard for free people to counter, because now they can no longer muster into Helm's Deep.
Yeah, that's great. Saved by him asking for 1 second. Maybe reading the card? Not sure.
Just gonna think about leader versus maybe the regular in Westamnet,
Right, right.
probably.
Yeah, I think that makes quite a bit of sense. That army in Trollshaw's stymied all this time by a power too great.
Yeah, what a nice card draw. And it's just been the case that Shadow has had all these character cards they want to play, so they don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Wei is saying, "Are you
Yeah.
sure you want to kill that guy?"
Oh, Wei doesn't have to go that far.
Yeah, that is that's quite a you know.
What Wei is seeing is that Parth Celebrant can walk to Fangorn, Westamnet, Helm's Deep,
Yep.
and there's nothing free people can do about it because they already spent a ring.
Yeah. Nice of him to allow the take back. I think that goes even Saved by Him seems to think that that goes a bit beyond the bounds of sportsmanship, going back several moves and offering a correction. I think probably fair.
Yeah, I think probably. I mean, especially in the final, and with your opponent pointing it out, I don't. I I think I draw a distinction between if Saved by Him cleared the die and then said wait and then
Sure.
changed it, then I feel like it would be fine. But if Wei is the one who's pointing it out, then I feel like that should stay.
Boy, oh boy, that is a painful maneuver. So that is gonna push. Yeah, boy, there's nothing you can do. My God. Oh boy.
It's possible there's through a day and a night.
Sure, it's possible.
I'm not saying it's likely, but that would save it and maybe be a bluff by free people. Maybe turn into a bluff if they have through a day and a night.
So Saved by him trying to process what to do with this dice here. All right, you've got an event die. What are we doing?
Yeah, no through day and night play. That would be the card that lets you move up to two spaces, and they could have. Oh no! So they just had to play Bilbo's song for only one corruption because of War, More Sorrow, and Toil.
Yep. And then here's this ring, and down goes all the Rohan stuff. Now, Shadow could have taken Edoras, but I think that taking Fold in this way is probably the more prudent move because if you only go with one guy into Helm's Deep, it's that much easier for free people to retake it. Uh, and now you are going to have to contend with this elite here anyway. So it's not like
Yeah.
you really have a stranglehold on Rohan, right? You've put free people even more onto the back foot than they already were, but it is possible for them to break out of this. So I think Fold is probably the conservative choice.
And Wei is playing this exactly right, attacking Fort Weizen, keeping Saruman in rearguard because of Mithril Coat. Um, and the reason you need to attack Fort Weizen now is because that means that Free People is, if you press, not able to put Helm's Deep under siege at the start of next turn.
Right. You can tell that Wei even knows the rules. You cannot just keep Saruman in rearguard by himself. He has to be in rearguard with a unit. So one regular does not get to participate in this fight.
They trade hits. Again, pretty good for Shadow.
Yeah.
You don't even need to move in with all that much. All things
Okay.
considered, just a few elites.
So the daring move is starting to come out now. We've had Fordzweisen retreat to Fangorn and meet up with Gandalf. So now we have an army with several companions, which could be primed to do some damage here. We shall see.
At the very least, it defends Lorien and maybe Minas Tirith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of a, you know, making lemonade kind of situation for free people.
Out of some really gross lemons.
Free people declares forward. Finally, Shadow has a card they can cycle. Yeah, no, they're not going to cycle that. They're going to play Nazgul Strike.
Oh boy. All right. So it's a few more character dice than you really needed, but you're going to make it into Mordor for sure.
There's no cruel weather stopping you.
Though, of course, as free people, you don't know that.
Well, even if there was, you could, of course, just move twice. But as free people, you might not want to move twice. You might just want to move once and bet on there being no cruel weather. Free people are coming down to fight in Rohan, so good for Shadow. They have those 5 wargs that cancels Gandalf pretty nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what the long term play is here exactly. Are you just gonna kind of stay here and defend, say, Edoras, or are you going to start to work your way towards Minas Tirith? Somewhat hard to say.
As long as you're in Rohan, Path of the Wozes can always bring you to Gondor,
True.
although Druidin is the only open spot at the moment. If you're free people, I mean, you have to at least threaten to retake Helm's Deep.
Yeah, I think you're right. And if Shadow over defends Helm's Deep, there's a funny old world where Gandalf could go attack Isengard, actually take out Saruman.
Maybe, but I think if I'm free people, if I'm Shadow, I might just attack Westamnet outright.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this would be Shadow making a mistake. Mistakes do happen though. I certainly agree. I think just go ahead and hunt this army.
I'm a little surprised to be spending the character die. Like, as Shadow, I feel like I'd rather play Nazgul Strike.
Yeah, you're also tilting your hand that you do not have Crow Weather. Even if you had Crow Weather, you could not now play it.
I think there's a lot of value. Oh, they're asking to change to an A
Ah,
die,
okay.
which I think I think Shadow should always be able to do here. I mean, the real thing is the die hasn't been cleared. No new information has been shown.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. Nothing nothing about the game state has been changed.
Yeah, Brave Stand would slap pretty hard. But we might see an onslaught. Oh no, just no card. That's fine too.
Advantageous keeps you a little safe against this. Those sixes still hit. And Free People continues with the combat rolls that we've been seeing. 3 hits, not bad. Not bad.
So do you think that that might be the most impactful Stormcrow we've seen in a tournament final?
Oh my god. It, more than it might be the most impactful Stormcrow I've ever seen, full stop. Uh and it's a shame to say that, Saved by Him, an incredible player, did make a mistake. It was a mistake, right? But it was kind of hard to see. Uh,
It was
it,
very hard to see. I was thinking the same thing.
right. I think you and I were both saying, well, maybe you want to take the regular as a casualty. Uh, so, but if you're in that seat, you're still just it's hard not to kick yourself. You feel bad about it. You get tilted about these sorts of things.
Yeah, it's really rough. I think it was really hard to see, and it was well spotted by Way to, in the moment, you're focused on forwards. It's so important, I think, one really underrated factor for good shadow play is to just have good vision of the board,
Right.
being able to see wherever there's an opening at any given time.
You
And
don't want
that
to
was quite an opening.
you don't want to tunnel vision on any one particular thing. You need to see the totality of the whole, right? Keep your options open. I believe Kierkegaard calls this dancing lightly in the service of thought.
That is a lovely quote. I think Free People is making the most of it, making Gandalf do some work.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And they
And
move
what
and they're safe. So, there's that.
right now, if I'm Saved by Him, I think you said earlier, you probably don't move twice, even accounting for cruel weather. I think that's certainly the case. I also think that maybe that Shadow like started to play a character die and then was like, no, I take it back. I'll use an army instead. Maybe even more so. That makes you think. Well, if you're trying to get like the psychic mind read on them, right? Maybe they don't have it because if they'd had it, they would never have even for a moment thought about using character die. I don't know.
Or it's the deepest mind game ever.
Yes, yes, yes. The
It's always fun with the cruel weather things. But I honestly don't even think it's really a mind game here. I just think that Shadow can't afford to um do it.
right, right. I agree.
Like, or Free People can't afford to move again and be hit. Like, if they have cruel weather, oh well, you wait another turn before going to Mordor.
Right.
Now, Free People, Shadow's going for the kill here, trying to kill Aragorn, but I think this is a bit of a mistake because now Gandalf can just run and maybe kill Saruman.
So you said like Gandalf back to Fangorn, play an Ent, and then that's that.
Yeah, I mean it does get rid of this Rohan problem for good, which is pretty beneficial. And Free People's already spent one Ent. and they probably would have spent another in the Western Net battle. Like you have to feel like that's likely. So like it's a reasonable risk, but there is some counterplay for free people here.
Sure. So Shadow, if they can crack this, they'll have those 3 points in Rohan. Peligir makes four, and then DA is sort of a pocket six. Um, so then I suppose your 8 and 10 are looking like maybe Minas Tirith and Rivendell, perhaps.
Yeah, I think Minas Tirith is pretty likely to go down. I mean, you can just bring in these guys as reinforcements.
Yeah,
Um, they're attacking out of Western Net, which I think is a reasonable move. You can always move Gandalf later. I think the real goal here for people is to waste as much time as possible.
certainly, certainly. And now, having done this, Gandalf has a spot to retreat to if that Isengard army attacks Edoras, which they're pretty sure to at some point. In fact,
Yep.
it seems that Way feels like he can't attack Edoras yet. Now he has to get Gandalf boxed in again, so now there's this annoying thing. And then when he takes Fold, if he doesn't take it with enough troops, Gandalf can pull that trick again, and it all wastes time, as you said.
Yep. And this is just a really nice efficiency from Saved by Him, just wasting more die, being annoying, um, dealing some hits. Every die spent here is a die not spent in Minas Tirith or Dol Amroth or Rivendell.
Yep.
And maybe this is where Gandalf runs because it starts to get a little scary for him at this point,
Yeah, it's a
or
little
maybe
dicey.
they do it again, like you said.
Even Way says, "Now go ahead, kill that guy."
It might be too dangerous. I mean, maybe Free People has the scouts and is feeling okay. But if you go down to 3 HP in Edoras, Shadow can kill that in a round of combat.
At the same time, though you are correct, if Free People has a really good defensive card, if they're holding a brave stand, that's better than a daylight at this point, right? So you never know. And Free People
Yeah,
is in a position where they might be willing to take risks to buy time.
they might. And it's one more die. Shadow here. Do you try and kill Gandalf, or do you just play Nazgul Strike?
Well, it's Free's turn, right? I want to see what happens
Yeah, for sure.
with what Gandalf does. Um, if Gandalf doesn't break out, I think you absolutely try to kill him, right? I think that is worth
Yeah.
it. More worth it than Nazgul Strike. Probably, probably.
No,
Oh boy,
definitely. But what if Gandalf attacks Fold and you're left with 3 regulars in Edoras? At that point, do you gamble with an onslaught on killing Gandalf, or do you play Nazgul Strike? That is really going to be the most interesting question. But Gandalf might run here too, so I guess let's see Free People's turn.
I guess I would assume if Gandalf doesn't run, you kind of have to be thinking scouts as Shadow, right? Like you have to ask yourself, why isn't Gandalf running? Why is he not more afraid of me, right?
All right, so
Way does not look
regulars
it.
left.
Yeah, yeah.
I think if it were up to me, I would play Nazgul Strike here because one more hit, another 1 or 2 tiles drawn. And I mean, there's only there's 4 regulars in Fold, which is just I don't think you're gonna get 4 hits. Um, I think that Scouts is too likely. I think that like a Brave
Yeah.
Stand, like you said, or Nameless Wood, or no, it's Horn Dark, I believe, is the 2 dice card.
Who in deck has been played actually?
Okay. But I would be too worried about his scouts. But I think Nazgul Strike is definitely the play here.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
but
so
we'll
too.
see. With an onslaught, if Free People does not play something crazy like scouts, your odds of killing. Oh, Nazgul Strike for Mithril.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. There it
That's
is.
devastating.
Well, I mean, is it like you were gonna lose it one way or another, pretty much, because Worm of Sorrow and Toil is up. In fact, I might,
That's true.
I,
Does
I
Shadow?
might
Ooh,
just do the Natural Strike. I might not discard Mithril with it.
yeah, because you can just get rid of it anyway later.
Right.
And it's such an awkward position now because if you move and hit, and Free People takes a random, they lose Mithril anyway. So Free People can't even take a random, and if you get a nasty tile,
Yeah,
huh?
I think the play here is I think it's hunt. Especially you're rolling 4 dice, you hit on 5. That's pretty good odds.
Yeah, I agree. Initially, I just saw Mithril, and it looks like a nice treat, but I think the hunt is better.
Yep. And away agrees, and it is certainly 3 hits and a 1 reveal. Imagine if that had been an eye. Just that would have been so much salt
That's
poured
that's
into the
pretty
wound.
much game ending. Yeah.
Look how small that hunt pool is. My goodness. So now, what do you do? Do you take this corruption and then reveal? Just like what?
Uh, they might be considering Mithril Coat.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah,
If you
perhaps.
could draw into a non-revealing tile, but the thing is, if you redraw into an eye,
Yeah, and
it
the
is
odds of that
just.
are 25%. What a nightmare. What a nightmare.
I think if this was an eye, you snap play Mithril, but I don't know. Mithril might be worth it just because you need to take risks.
But I don't disagree with you about risks, but how good a risk is that really? Like what are really the consequences of dealing with this 1 reveal? You'll go up a corruption and then you're gonna get another tile, and if that tile is an eye, you don't care at all. And if it is a a 1 or a 2, well then yeah, well,
These are practically blue tiles, these ones and twos, compared to
you're right.
the red tiles and eyes in the pool. Um, I,
Okay, it's
yeah,
Mithril.
I think this is right because, yeah, if you hit in the eye, you basically just lose on the spot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
oh my gosh. I,
So
I think,
now
but I defend it. I think that was the right choice. It's just, Free Fuel's in such a bad position, they have to take their chances.
now you lose Strider though, and that's okay. Hey, it was efficient after all, as it happens.
It's so sad imagining that this would have been the more non-draw too.
Right. Saved by Him has done the math to determine what the chances were that he drew both revealing tiles on the 2 draws. A thing that you do when the game is going very well. You start computing the chances that the bad thing that just happened.
Yes, this game must be going well for Free People. At this point, it's I think Wei has played very well. I think that there's been some really cool play this game, but I think that this is just so rough for Free People, and it's just hard to see what they could do at this point.
Well, so what they'll do, and you and I have both seen this many, many times before, I'm sure. What do? You slow way down, you dig the character deck as deep as you can for any remaining cards that help you, right? There's still blues in there. The Worm of Sorrow and Toil is not going to get those. There is another way, right? So that you're going to slow way down, you're going to dig for the heals, you're going to creep up the mountain while you do your best to defend. That's the play.
That's all you can do. You don't have a choice.
Right.
But there's another way, which is one corruption, and there's the blues, and there is nothing else on the deck for Free People. Really, I don't think there is.
Sure, but that's serviceable, right? You also just took oh, what happened here with the corruption? Uh, we're being asked a question. One moment. What are they asking exactly? Do not put the first tile back until what
So
now?
they're asking if the one reveal goes back in the pool before the next draw.
Oh, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost certain it doesn't.
I am pretty certain it doesn't. I am really quick double checking.
Oh, I'm sorry. For the Moranin draw, that's a more interesting question. Actually, I think it does. Because you're resolving the draw. One second. All right, let's deal with this.
The almanac says do not put the tile back in the pool until the end of the action.
Not till the end of the action. Okay. That is not what I would have expected. That is a new rule for me. So apparently, what the almanac has said is that when you use Mithril like this, the one reveal does not go back in until the end of the action, and so we are getting another tile draw here. Uh, that's wild.
Apply the effects of the second tile and then put the tile back into the pool.
Wow. Who knew? Who knew? So that would, we're not in that scenario here, although we almost are. Under the right circumstances, that could prompt a reshuffle of the whole pool.
Yes, and there's actually some language about that.
Okay, so a 3 damage eye and then a 2 sacks Strider and Gimli. Efficient at least. And Free People enters Mordor on effective 3 corruption. Not great. Not exactly where you want to be, but I am so glad that we have the Community Almanac. It is the finest board game FAQ I have ever seen, bar none.
It is so useful for so many situations.
And you never really outgrow the need for it, right? You can play this game hundreds of times and you will still find a weird corner case that you need to go to the almanac for, and then it's actually there.
It definitely is. I really appreciate it. There's so many great community resources that we have. Now, and we're seeing it here, as Bob is talking about, it's the hunt pool that's the problem.
Yep,
And
yep.
what a problem it is. And there's still 3 tile drawing cards for Shadow. There's still um, Lure the Ring. There's still I think that's it.
Now,
In the red
now,
board.
once in Mordor, tile drawing cards can hurt you just as much as they can help you as Shadow, right? If you draw an eye, and the odds of that are not insignificant, you really did not help yourself, right?
That's
Um,
true.
right now, with Shadow having rolled 5 eyes, I sort of doubt Free People even moves. They might just hide and hang out.
Oh, they're absolutely hiding, I think, and
Yeah.
just chilling. Um, and that's true. I tend to think of the tile drawing cards as useful in the aggregate. If you play 3 of them, it's likely that at least one of them is not going to hit an eye.
Yeah. So we're back
If Shadow can
to
get Lure the Ring, though, that's 2 corruption right there. So let's see.
right. I mean, but they don't have it. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. They could cycle maybe, but that's not guaranteed.
I don't know if I'm Shadow right now. I don't know that I go into like this full on let me burn through the character deck, let me find all the stuff. I think from the corruption story, you've kind of done what you needed to do, and now you can focus a little more back on the military side of things, which are also not exactly going poorly. Um,
Yeah, well, but what I would think is that you would cycle, for example, Palantir Vorthnik, and that helps your military and your corruption.
True, very true, very very true. Though you can't. It's a little awkward to attack Minas Tirith right now. The army is just kind of not quite there. It's gotten split up as a result of all the Rohan shenanigans.
Yeah, maybe not this turn, but here comes the mouth. Shadow's going to be at 10 dice, which
Yep.
always feels very good.
The mouth, yet more leadership that actually works against Gandalf.
Yeah, Gandalf has a pretty big army, so he might be up to some nonsense. Going into Westamnet, maybe trying to make a run at
Yeah,
Orthanc or Helm's Deep.
I
That's fun.
I I do love a wizard getting up to some nonsense. Who doesn't?
Sudden Strike, great card.
Yeah.
Only one.
It's a little unlucky. You expect one and change. Wow, but that's pretty good.
Can't complain about that, but Wade does get some hits back.
Oof, violent stuff. So, what are you doing here as Saved by Him? Are you making your way towards Orthanc? Because surely Shadow can just retreat to Helm's Deep and probably hold it, right?
Well, if you're threatening both Orthanc and Helm's Deep, Shadow might feel forced to muster in Orthanc, and you could probably eventually take Helm's Deep. It does buy you. This just buys you more time. I mean, certainly it takes more dice. Um, as Shadow, you don't really want to leave. Actually, no. Here's the funny thing. Maybe you just leave Orthanc. Excuse me. Leave Saruman alone in Orthanc, so that you don't lose him to military.
Hmm. Yeah. Although if Gandalf sits on top of you, well, I guess you can't really play Ents, can you? Interesting. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, free people might be able to play an Ent later anyway, but I don't think the military is. Well, elves aren't at war yet. Military isn't insane, but Shadow just has so many dice, and free people doesn't have Aragorn.
It's kind of a hard board game, isn't it? Hmm.
Hmm. I wonder what Wei is thinking about. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to figure out how to proceed as Shadow from here.
Very
Gandalf
much
is just being
so.
a real nuisance.
You also have to be kind of careful because Shadow rolled so many eyes. Free People is actually going to get the last move of the turn, which means Free People will get two actions in a row. That's always a little spooky for Shadow, although that character die is kind of spoken for. You really have to hide with it, so there's not maybe too much that Free People can do here.
And does free people really want to use their last ring?
Right.
I really because the in these sorts of situations where you're taking Mordor very slowly, and you take 5 or more turns in Mordor with only 5 dice, um, there could definitely come a turn where you roll no movement, and then you just take an automatic corruption unless you use a ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we're thinking about getting rid of Power Too Great, and yes, we are. I like this as it's like a stalling move. Um, Shadow can do this and find out what free people are going to do, and then react to that. Because sooner or later, Shadow had to get rid of that.
And it's interesting to note the cards that Shadow chose to get rid of. They got rid of Palantir of Orthanc, which, while it's a very strong card, less and less useful the longer the game goes on. But they also got rid of Day Without Dawn. And I think we were talking about last time, I love this strategy because now Day Without Dawn is a threat in Free People's mind for the rest of the game. They're never going to know if it's in there, right? So in a way, even though you discarded it, it still sort of does some damage.
Yeah. Now, of course, free people might roll 4 wills, and then Shadow will regret it, but I think Unbalance is a good play. And Way is definitely thinking about free people military victory because their guys are going to Moria and Orthanc.
Well, I think you gotta have it in mind because that mountain is looking awfully steep.
But for everything that Shadow has to do to defend, it's less dice to attack, and that gives Frodo as much time as possible. Only 2 eyes, so eye isn't horrible for free people here. I mean, it's not
Hey,
good. Horn of
Horn of
Gondor, nice.
Gondor. It's a lovely little bonus. Every little bit, though. I think you still have time on the military front. I think you're creeping, right? Like one step this round.
Shadow Way needs to find a path to 10 in like they don't have to do it next turn, but they need like a 3 to 4 turn plan to get to 10 that isn't disrupted by Gandalf.
Right.
Um, so I think that's going to be really important here. And yeah, Denethor's Folly I think is a good way to start.
Yep. Not very much. Uh, Way did end up with Orc Patrol in hand, one of those tile drawing cards. I think you really probably don't play it. If you hit an eye, you're going to be very mad at yourself, and the odds of that are decent.
Yeah, I think you want to hang on to it for now. We'll see how the hunt pool changes. And maybe you get rid of it, or maybe you draw a couple eyes and then it becomes more appetizing.
File
There
with
goes
a
in
character
file.
die makes perfect sense because again, you're not going to be moving with all those dice.
And now they're drawing character cards. That makes sense.
Yep.
Another red tile, so free people should move now. They don't know
Yeah.
free. They don't know Shadow just drew a red tile, but because they could have, it is correct
Right.
play to just
Very much
move.
so. Kind of unlucky for free people. Shadow just got halfway through the character deck, and they've found 3 of the 4 red tiles. That's unfortunate. Okay, one reveal. Not bad at all. You can go ahead
That's
and
the best tile that free people could have drawn
yeah,
at
very
this moment.
much. I mean, I guess technically the one non-reveal is maybe better.
Yeah, that's true.
Though
But maybe even not because now you can hide next turn.
exactly. I was just going to say, arguably, if Shadow rolls 5 eyes next round, you're going to be delighted that you're revealed so that you can hide and not take auto corruption.
Odinus says they like orcs multiplying again and sniping Woodland Realm. Yeah, I like that. Like the way you're thinking there.
For
Good
sure,
way for
for
Shadow
sure.
to get some surprise points. Still doable with that muster into Ring Wraiths.
It very well
That would be
could
interesting.
be the plan. Not only does that let you kind of set up for Woodland Realm, it also helps with the Rivendell assault if Mount Gundabad comes down.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good play here. We'll see if Way sees it or if they have other plans.
Every time Way opens up the hunt pool, I am reminded just how horrible a hunt pool it is. I hate that hunt pool.
Yeah, it's not friendly.
It causes me distress every time I see it. right, we
We're
are going
trying out
six
Orc
here.
Patrol.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I
if you just commit to playing all of them. Oh no, they're just attacking with Orc Patrol. Okay, that makes sense
yeah,
too.
I think they're cycling it to get a better card. I don't think you want this. Like, you know what I would take right now? Lure of the Ring. Lure of the Ring is what I would
Lore
take.
of the Ring would be great.
Well,
Dreadful
Dreadful
Spells
Spells
is
is
pretty
fine.
useful, actually.
It's a little annoying actually because I think you kind of want to cycle it more than you want to play it for its event, but you can't cycle it because there's no good places to fight with. Uh, I mean, the Witch King isn't with any Isengard troops.
There's Guards of the Citadel, so Minas Tirith is just going to be a bear. I almost wonder if you want to abandon Minas Tirith at this point. Gandalf's right there. Cycling Black Captain commands, yeah. Just looking for more character cards.
Yep. Yeah, very much Way is kind of like more and more abandoning these military ideas, which I think I'm a little frightened of that because if Free People does kind of get their luck swing that they're looking for, like as bad as the hunt pool is, as bad as Frodo has been pummeled every step of the way, destroying the ring is not impossible at this point, right? There's
All Free
very
People has to
much,
do is not hit a red, basically.
yeah, more or less. What's this? More. Okay, we're cycling Worm
Now,
Tongue.
that being said, when you roll sixes, it really helps out. So Minas Tirith is suddenly about to fall.
Yeah. Well, tragically, if that happens, you're gonna lose your little farm that you've curated for yourself here.
Yeah, but I think as Shadow, you got to be happy to go up.
And
Oh, and there's another red
there's the
tile.
last red tile. Poof.
So now Shadow just has to wait. Keep pushing the military, don't stop, but just hit a red. You got four chances at it.
So Minas Tirith kind of did not stand up as much as one might hope, and
Yeah, with
now,
the guards of the Citadel too.
yeah,
I mean, that is what can happen though when Shadow is just willing to spend like 5 dice cycling and isn't spending their desperate battles and pressing a million times.
yeah, true, true. So Free People did hide, perhaps feeling time pressure now, and there's our red tile into the pool.
All four red tiles now.
That's gross. Now the one, if we try to find the silver lining in that, I notice how many silver linings we are trying to find. I'm not blind to that, but now your impetus to rush to move as Free People is significantly lessened because there's nothing more that Shadow can do to make the hunt pool worse.
You're already in a worst case scenario. It can't get any worse than this.
Right, right.
But no more
But
eyes is actually really good for free people.
yeah, definitely.
Because way if they can even get one or two eyes, oh, just
And
there's another way to heal. Yeah, they have
which
to.
they have to do because otherwise they lose it to Wormasar and Toil. And that's fine because the other aspect of Wormasar and Toil, like it helps you move, right? But that's that's not what we're doing right now. We're slowing down and taking our time.
I don't know how slow you can go. Let's take a gander. If Shadow besieges Rivendell, fighting Urukai, Corsairs, they could get to 9 points from that, and that actually they would get to 10 because they're currently at 10. And then Free People retakes Edoras, and Shadow retakes Dale. I don't know if that's going to happen this turn, but now that Minas Tirith has fallen, it's I mean, Dol Amroth and Rivendell should fall with even a little bit of shadow investment. And they have a
Yeah,
Grand too. Grand and Fighting Urukai.
definitely. I see that for sure. So then maybe Free People needs to get ready to win as early as by next turn, or else perhaps not at all.
I theoretically it's possible for Shadow to win this turn, but I think realistically they should shoot for next turn.
tough this turn, I think. Um,
It would be
oh,
so hard. Um, oh, why aren't you playing Orcs Multiplying? I guess they got
uh,
rid of it.
yeah. Where did it go, actually?
There should be enough though with those guys coming in. Combine those two armies, that could probably take Woodland Realm.
I don't remember where Orcs Multiplying went. It didn't get played as an event, and I don't remember an Onslaught.
I think it was discarded.
Ah,
They
I
kept
see.
Devilry over it, probably for Rivendell. So I guess the plan now is they're not going to play Corsairs at all. They're just going to take Dale, Woodland Realm, and Rivendell. Oh, King Brands is a great draw here.
Yeah, it's probably not enough, unfortunately.
I think it helps a lot because Dale matters. Um, because without Dale, Shadow needs to hold Edoras, which just isn't happening.
Move those ring wraiths around. Get everybody where they need to be. So, free people, do you think they risk moving twice this turn? Trying to, anyway, assuming they don't hit a red.
I think you wait and see what the military looks like, and that will dictate what happens.
Yeah.
But maybe, um, they're attacking Old Forest Road. Okay, I think they're just gonna rush down Rivendell. They're scouts. Sorry, not Rivendell, Woodland Realm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wonder why they got rid of Orcs Multiplying again, because it seems like it would just be such a nice help here.
it does. These are tricky spots to take, and your armies really aren't that big. You do have, Corsairs might be more of a deadly strife than it is Corsairs this game.
Yeah, might need to be.
And with a deadly strife, I think these territories do fall.
Well, Woodland Realm is still on the table, um, and I think Rivendell certainly. I think Rivendell is the most weak, even more than Woodland Realm. Even though it technically has the same HP, just the fighting Urukai is just gonna wreck that, and Rivendell just can't hit back very hard.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. So, Saved by Him has this one precious hybrid die. Um, what are you gonna do with that? I wonder if there's a world where you preemptively make this Edoras attack at some point when Shadow has committed more of their dice to other places, right? Because then you're in a position where you can start to muster up more Rohan troops and Edoras, and can get into a scenario where you can hold that a little longer. Um, I think that's one place I could realistically see spending that hybrid. Maybe even the will if you're only going to move once.
Yeah, and maybe you want to spend a muster, but that makes sense to me. Certainly, I don't think you want to potentially be reliant on using a character die next turn.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So the situation is Way has to they have to take two of Rivendell, Woodland Realm, and Dolamroth. I think Rivendell is maybe not a sure thing, but with Fighting Urukai in hand, I feel really confident about Woodland Realm falling. Not Woodland Realm, Rivendell, my bad.
Is it?
Um,
Have you considered that Saved by Him could be holding on to Kindred of Glorfindel?
yeah, that's fair. They could be. I've seen a few advantageous is spent. I don't remember if Kindred was spent.
I don't.
Often it
I
is.
don't think it has been.
But it would make sense for free people to have that, considering Rivendell has been under threat for most of the game.
Chat is telling me that I'm wrong. It sounds like Kindred of Glorfindel has been used, so no help is coming for Rivendell.
Okay, then yeah, I think Shadow is it's a good bet to bet on Rivendell, and then it really just comes down to if Shadow feels more confident about Dolamroth or Woodland Realm. Personally, I would prefer to go for Dolamroth, and the reason for that is you have to deal with the Dale follow-up fight, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of obnoxious. Whereas if you can just fully focus on Dale, it's a lot easier. But instead, we're going for Rivendell, for Woodland Realm. So both the elves.
And then you've got Grond for one and Fighting Urukai for the other. Nasty stuff.
Yeah, and Grand Deadly Strife gives you very good odds in Rivendell.
Yeah. Now, if you do manage to take both of those, so Palantir for attack, attack, and then take Dale, and you are sitting on 11 points. So even if Edoras gets recaptured, you're you win.
And
But
for good measure, you can move the leadership prior to attacking Rivendell.
right, but this does all have to work. So it depends on how this goes. That was
4 hits, it's
a
done.
decent. Yep, there it goes. Step one
Yeah,
complete.
Deadly Strife with Grand is so good. And look at that. I mean, Dale isn't even gonna hold now.
Right.
Well, the combat luck in the end for free people did not follow through. And there's another Deadly Strife.
Ew, boy. All right, it's not over yet. You've seen it. I've seen it. Deadly Strife can roll all ones. It happens.
Well, I would watch Dale because Dale might hold. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, yeah, that is pretty crazy, but you're right. So I was a little down on King Brand. I said I didn't think it was gonna help very much, but actually that injects some uncertainty here.
So Free People has one muster to put an elite in Dale, and then they have to use their will to attack Edoras. Or maybe they just muster with the will. That's probably what they do. Um, and then they just need to hope that between Dale and Rivendell, they hold something, and then they move once, and they have a spitting chance next turn. That's what you do as free people here, I think. Unless there is some crazy move I am not anticipating.
Everyone, send your energy to Saved by Him now for a miraculous hold in Dale. Then again, you know what? Actually, all right. In the continued quest for silver linings, I found the brightest silver lining of all. Are you ready for it? Here it is. Uh, if Wei wins this game, we go to a grand finals game three, and that would be pretty exciting.
No, I'm excited for that. That would be pretty great. But here comes the Elite and Dale.
Yep.
Way brought up a confusion, maybe doing something like we've seen perhaps in a past game.
Right.
The only question here for Shadow is do you attack from the South Runs and then attack from the Witch King and forego leadership in Rivendell? I'm not sure. I think maybe, yeah.
Okay. Way trying to decide which die to
Notice
play here.
notice Wei has two devilries for Rivendell, so they've been
Indeed.
stockpiling those.
Two devilries and you've got to fight in your Kai. It's a nasty game over there. I think really it's got to be Dale that holds. But yeah, in fact, well, yes, boy, you do have two dice you can use on Dale if you're Shadow if you want to. But of course, the problem then is that actually makes it a little bit worse for you because you would have to go through the round of city defenses again. So you kind of really have to do it in one.
Well, you could dreadful spells.
I wasn't even thinking of that. In my head, it was a Devilry of Orthanc. I was not dancing lightly in the service of thought at all. That is an incredible play.
Oh, the confusion revenge is
Yup.
possible here.
Let's see it. All right, it does get one. Does get one. But two
Saved by
sixes.
him says my
Three
turn.
sixes. Oh
Three sixes.
no. Terrible news for free people. And
Well,
very little
oh
back.
no, they didn't roll well. If they got 3 to 4 hits there, then that would be crazy. But it's
Well,
three to three.
yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh,
They're even dice now. Um,
that's crazy.
but as Shadow, can you press this attack?
Of course you
Because if you
can.
fail, they can walk into Woodland Realm.
Yeah, Way is now has to consider it. That's so funny. So maybe it was enough. It depends on how he stopped. Actually stopped. Saved by Him does their best Emperor Palpatine impression. Do it.
Now Shadow is unable to muster in Dale, so next round, um, and they're unable to muster in Dale because they have to retake Edoras and they have to move.
Right.
So next round, this whole saga in Dale is going to pick up again. But I don't think Shadow wins this turn.
Yeah. Even Way is saying you've bought your extra turn. Um. So it sure has.
I'd still, it's kind of a mirror to last game, where I think Shadow is still heavily favored. I think as Shadow, you just pick yourself up, you move leadership, get some over in Vale of Karnan, you fighting Urukai, Rivendell, and you say, okay, free people probably can't dunk next turn, and if they try, they're probably getting corrupted.
Yeah, this is still a very strong position for Shadow. Free People needs a healthy dose of luck. The problem is that it is now possible. It's now very possible if you look at that.
Hey, there's a 0.
Now let's hope Savedbyhim could make a terrible mistake here. If you got greedy and moved again, not realizing how important it is to take Edoras, then you throw the game right here because I bet you Wei is going to wait until his last die to make that final attack. I don't think Savedbyhim will make that mistake. I think that it's very foreseeable that that can happen. But well, there's that.
Dreadful spells in Dale. That's pretty big, and this is a bit of a pickle for free people because unfortunately they have to attack Edoras, and if they don't, fighting Urukai can't be played. Oh, I think that was a mistake.
You're
By the
right.
way,
You're right. Oh wow.
I think that was a big mistake because now, I mean, yeah, they're gonna walk into Dale, and that's great. But now free people can move again,
And
and
absolutely should.
I mean, now they still have to get they have to get some incredible luck on the moves, but then again, they had incredible bad luck earlier on. Sometimes it balances out.
less and less incredible by the second. Even hitting eyes is kind of okay right now. You just can't hit a red. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would still be pretty nasty because you get revealed. Um, like it's more about the reveal than the corruption.
Well, that's true. Statistically, we would expect 2.5 movement dice next turn, which means again
Plus
statistically
one, yeah.
+1 from the ring, right? So like theoretically, that is enough even to deal with a reveal.
I guess maybe Free People feels the need to attack Edoras anyway, because a character die can still attack Rivendell. It's not fighting a Rakai, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't really risk that, probably.
Or maybe you can. Maybe it's Free People, you just say, okay, I'll take those odds. What would
Yeah.
you do you think?
Well,
Would you
I was just
liberate
thinking
Edoras?
that. Yeah, I think that I
I
would
think
move
I
the
would move.
fellowship, and I'll give you my reason, which is that if I take Edoras and then my move is rewarded because Rivendell falls and I don't immediately lose, now I have to move 3 times on Mount Doom next turn, which I super don't know if I'm going to be able to do, right? That I just might not get the dice for it. And I'm certainly not going to be able to defend myself anymore. The war is lost. That's done. So I think probably the best odds are to just move and then hope that Rivendell doesn't fall.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think what Saved by Him is doing is triple checking that Ringwraiths and Black Captain are gone, and they are.
Yep.
So, um, with that said, I think they will move.
Way Way is giving advice. You have to move, I think. And you know what's interesting in a game like this? It's funny. I think it's almost born of like a mutual respect. Like Wei isn't giving advice because his opponent doesn't know what he's doing. Wei is giving advice because Wei knows that both he and Saved by Him can do the same math. You know, uh, it's one of those funny things where these players are good enough that they both see the same board as each other right now.
Now, imagine if Dreadful Spells came first, and then the Dale attack.
You would still be in a similar position, wouldn't you? Because you'd have one
No,
left.
because you could attack with the character die, and then fighting Urkai with the
Ah, I see.
um, hybrid.
All right, there's the move.
Saved by Him moves.
Oh,
Look at that. Look at
wow.
that.
Okay. All right. Pretty big. Pretty
And
big.
now we see the Rivendell attack, I
Yep.
think.
So this could be
No,
it. No?
Wei is saying, I'm just going to win the military next turn and hope you don't dunk.
Really? I don't know about that. I hmm. Interesting. Okay, well, it's done. What's done is done. Shadow on 9 points. Fellowship 2 steps from the cracks of doom. Shadow certainly has all the opportunities here, and Shadow has the lidless eye, so they can make the hunt pool even worse if they need to.
And as we
Uh,
discussed, they just need one die to win, so they can absolutely lidless eye.
right, right. Okay, so
But that is
hunt
enough movement.
it's enough movement. Hunt pool's nasty, but you've got enough companions that like you can live through this. It's doable. So I wonder what you do here. Surely, well, not surely. Do you move like right away so that if your opponent has the lidless eye, yeah, you do. Okay.
You have to because of Day Without Dawn.
Right, you're right. Uh, that's incredible. That's straight up incredible.
All right, it's time to do some calculations. Free People just kills a companion. Um, they're going to be at 4 with 2, so um, they would need to take 10 corruption. Um, if Lidless Eye puts everything but 1 in the hunt pool, um, that's 8 eyes in the hunt pool because you have to spend the die in Lidless Eye, and 1 eye left over, which only deals 9 corruption with the character die. So an eye will not kill, even
And
with Lidless Eye.
and I don't think that they can do it anyway. Even if Wei did do that, even if it was lethal, all free people would have to do then is simply not move and wait till the next round.
Well, interestingly, Wei could actually make it lethal, but that would mean sacrificing all of their dice. So they
Lidasai
need
caps
to at
you at
least
three.
preserve 1 to play Fighting Urukai.
Doesn't Lidless Eye cap you at only 3 dice?
Oh, that's a good point. It's only 3. It would be nice if you could do 8.
I suppose.
But so it just comes down to a red. And the question
Yeah.
is, do free people? I don't see why they wouldn't just take Boromir here.
Uh, yeah, you probably have to. Although it is so, I think what Saved by Him might be doing. The math is this, right? What if you hit 2 reds as you try to dunk here? How are you going to survive that process? Though if that happens, I think you just lose the military. So maybe it doesn't matter. And I suspect you probably do just take Boromir.
Well, let's just take a look at the hunt pool right now. It could, and red into eye could also kill potentially. Okay, so yeah, you're just trying to preserve as much as you can. Look at that hunt pool. That's insane.
I know. So it's a 44% chance of an eye on the next move.
I think you should lidless eye here if you're shadow, because if they hit the red eye, then you want that to be as damaging as possible.
True, true. I guess Wei is kind of trusting to chance a bit here. We are attacking Rivendell here. We're gonna try and crack that. Uh, oops, sorry, he says. Oh, he just rerolled too many. That's fine. Uh, all right. Now there's no real chance of free people bringing the military back. So free.
Elven
Oh
robe.
wow, that's a big play. That is a big, big play.
All right, you got to play lidless eye though. I mean, you got it because the red eye, and more importantly, if you hit a red into an eye, it could be lethal.
Yeah, true. And I think that's under consideration here. It's
I
hard to
mean, what else is
see.
Way doing?
Right, it's hard to see what else he has to do. Everything else is pretty much locked up at this point. Uh, if Saved by Him destroys the ring when he moves next, Saved by Him is the world champion.
Yeah. Wow, what a game of perseverance by Saved by Him. Although we still have that last step, and who knows what will happen.
All right, so an eye right now does 8 damage, not quite enough to kill. It brings you to 11 corruption.
Yeah, and any of the reds are a huge
Here,
problem because it
here
makes
it
eyes lethal.
comes. Here it comes. I'm like holding my breath. Throw it in the fire. Here it comes. Let's see it.
Saved by Him is just having fun with it.
Oh
Red
my
Eye.
word!
Oof.
No! It was the worst possible
After
tile.
so much.
The lidless eye paid off massively. Oh my
That's
heart.
what, 6 corruption?
No, it's much worse. It's eight. It's eight corruption. The box is hiding some of the
Oh,
dice.
the box is overflowing. So we have 8 corruption, bringing us up to 11. And now everything but Elven Rope kills. No,
The
Elven Rope.
two.
No, the 2 does not kill, because Legolas can eat it.
Oh, it did have to be that tell. So, I don't know if you're aware of this. There's a little book I'm rather fond of. It's called The Lord of the Rings. And at the end of this story, spoiler alert, a little hobbit has to destroy a ring at the Cracks of Doom. And instead of doing that, he claims it for his own, saying, "The ring is mine." And I guess Boromir was there too. I don't remember that part, but I'm sure that happened. And
Just
here we
like the
are.
books, Frodo stabs Boromir at that point.
Just like the books, Frodo stabs Boromir at the Cracks of Doom. That's right. Chat is chiming in. We got folks saying that they really like that book as well. Yeah, it's a pretty good book. Highly recommended. It's on Audible. We're not sponsored, but hey.
Yeah, there's still a chance for free people. The Gollum could trip and throw it in.
We'll see. So at this point now, there's really nothing else that you have to do. You must attempt to move again and hope that you get one of the two tiles that doesn't kill you. There's 9 tiles in the pool. 2 of them are safe, so you have a 22% chance of winning if you're saved by him.
Well, good luck to both players,
Yeah,
and let's see this play out.
here it comes, and it's an eye.
Oh,
Oh,
Wade's
way it
practicing
takes it.
witchcraft. He knew it.
Way it takes it. It is a shadow victory by I don't even know. Do you call that a thin margin? Like I don't know what you call that. That was amazing. We are going to a
I call
game
it a thin
three.
margin.
Yeah, we do not have a champion yet. There is going to be another game, and that game they are going to bid for handicap, which is going to be fascinating because I believe this year we're seeing muster points in the bidding, right? So,
This will be crazy. Yeah.
oh yeah, what a game! Uh, if you are still with us, if you're watching this in the future, thank you for tuning in. I think everyone gets really excited about this tournament. These players are exciting. These games are exciting. I can't believe it. Wow.
18 final corruption, by the way.
That'll be fun to record in our game report form. All right. Well,
What a
uh,
great game.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks again, anyone, for watching. We will see you next time with game 3, whenever that makes it onto the schedule. Uh, have a good one.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye bye.